Over 100 lawyers defend the Trump administration at any given time, but they just lost over half of their lawyers. Not because they fired them, but because they quit. Why is this happening now, and what does it mean for the future of the government? The Justice Department defends the government's biggest policies in court. Suddenly, their workload doubles. They're now being asked to defend controversial executive orders. They're worried about blurring that ethical line that some people have. So, what do? For one DOJ unit, the answer was simple. You quit. The Federal Programs Branch is a critical part of the Justice Department's Civil Division. These are lawyers who defend the federal government against legal challenges to the big ticket issues like immigration, education funding, or executive orders. Last year, this unit had 110 lawyers. Now, 69 of them have either left or have announced plans that they're leaving. This is from a list that was compiled by former DOJ lawyers and the media, who verified all but 4 names using court records and LinkedIn. This isn't just a few people with opposing views jumping ship. I mean, we had 10 of these individuals were supervisors. These are senior litigators that have experience dealing with complex legal cases in the courtroom. These are seasoned workers. So why are so many lawyers walking away? Several former DOJ lawyers painted a bleak picture over there, and it has nothing to do with layoffs, and surprisingly, it has nothing to do with telework. Because over at the DOJ, a lot of people can telework 4 to 5 days a pay period, which is a lot better than most federal agencies right now. The top reason that they're leaving include a crushing workload, demoralization, and fears of ethical violations. First is the workload. This office is fighting a record number of lawsuits challenging the Trump agenda, from challenging the 14th Amendment, from restricting money to elite universities. You've never seen anything like this before. If you look at past presidents, they've never had the amount of lawsuits that are coming in after President Trump's administration. Let's look at it. So George W. Bush had between 100 and 120 lawsuits. Barack Obama had 120 to 150, and Donald Trump has over 400. That's 3 times more than normal. And if you look at President Biden, he had a little bit less than 200, and a lot of that was challenging the COVID mandate and also immigration issues. So I understand how much President Trump likes to be viewed as number one. He's number one in this category. He's number one when it comes to people suing him. One lawyer who left said, "Many of these people came to work at federal programs to defend aspects of our constitutional system. How could they participate in the project of tearing it down?" Next is demoralization. So critics and lawyers are viewing it as these individuals, they're people that came in to defend the federal government, not dismantle it, not go after perceived enemies of the Trump administration. So they don't want to be a part of it. They think that some of these actions, they're in the gray area, if not full-blown illegal. So they can't, with good conscience, continue. It feels like a betrayal of their principles. Then there's the fear of ethical violations. So some individuals feel that they're going to be pressured at some point to misrepresent numbers, to misrepresent data. What if they're being asked if something is being supported by the Constitution? And they understand, within them, they don't feel like it is, but they have to say what the administration wants them to say. So at that point, they're at a conflict internally. Lawyers are bound by a strict code of professional conduct. Violating ethics like honesty, integrity, and candor, it can result in a loss of license to practice law. But to be fair, the Trump administration is not shedding tears over these people leaving. On the contrary, the White House said any career bureaucrat expressing fake outrage over the president's policies while sitting by during the weaponization of the previous administration has no grounds to stand on. In other words, they're saying these lawyers are hypocrites. They stood by during the Biden administration and helped implement the Biden agenda, but they don't want to do the same for the Trump agenda. And the Trump administration is also saying they're doing everything according to law. It's within the president's power, and they have some wins to back it up. The Supreme Court has sided with Trump on several cases, including a ruling limiting the judge's ability to block his policies nationwide. The DOJ itself has said it has successfully deleted a lot of lawsuits, and a spokesperson said the department will continue to defend the president's agenda to keep Americans safe. The Attorney General sent a memo earlier this year warning career lawyers in the government. She warned against substituting personal political views for the administration's priorities, which basically means get on board or get out. And it's just not people voluntarily quitting this agency, these units. People are getting fired as well. And all different type of units, to include national security, corruption, and civil rights units. Typically, when a new president is sworn into office, you will see the political appointees leave. So political appointed lawyers will leave and go do something else. But not the career lawyers. The career lawyers usually stay. Doesn't matter who the president is. From President Obama to Trump to Biden to back to Trump, they've always stayed. This is the first time we're actually seeing this huge exodus of people leaving. 2/3 are leaving. Why? Some people point to the president's agenda is more radical this time. Now, the administration's bringing in new blood, about 15 political appointees with conservative credentials to bolster the unit. These new lawyers, according to some sources, they're more willing to push the boundaries. So as a taxpayer, you could be wondering, are we getting a leaner, more loyal DOJ? Or are we losing experienced, seasoned employees? Are we losing career lawyers? And the answer seems to be yes to both of those questions. DOJ also had to pull in over a dozen lawyers from another unit just to make sure they're staffed appropriately. And as you know, we're on the third hiring freeze, and you have to ask yourself at some point, did we need 3 hiring freezes? I mean, with so many exemptions now, talking about public safety, immigration, national security, the VA, now we're talking about lawyers, you got air traffic controllers, you got so many different categories. Did we need this prolonged hiring freeze? And the answer is no, absolutely not. And I'm talking to people every day that have witnessed their workload double. The staffing has fallen 50% in some situations, and sometimes it's even lower than that. But the workload is getting larger. Agencies' leadership, the leaders understand there's gaps and they can't fill them. So they ask for exemptions. It makes the hiring process take longer. So what are we doing with 3 back-to-back hiring freezes? We're hurting the federal government, and by hurting the federal government, it is damaging the perception of ever wanting to work in the federal government, and it hinders public service. Look what happened at the Social Security Administration. They had to relocate like 1,000 people because they realized they didn't have enough people to pick up the phone. They can't even talk to you. So they had to reallocate people. This is a dangerous experiment being taken in a very chaotic approach, and we haven't even seen the full effects. The full consequences have not even been revealed at this point. So when you go and jump on usajobs.gov, you can see that DOJ is hiring 67 attorneys. Salaries up to $195,000 a year. All of these, they're open to the public, so any U.S. citizen could apply. But would you? Would someone you know actually want to go through this process in this political climate? The answer is probably no. Now, if you like high salaries, let's say 200,000. How does that strike you? 200,000, above 200,000 a year. We have over 9,000 people in the federal government, federal employees that are earning high salaries. Now, the caveat to that is President Trump, he loves these federal employees, and they're all in the plum book. They're all loyal to him. If you want to know more on how that works, I want you to watch this video next. Stay updated by signing up to the free newsletter down below. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.